Before I go over the first layer, I wanted to review opaque versus transparent paint application. So when something's opaque, it covers up what's beneath it. And when something's transparent, what's beneath it will come through. And the truth is, paint's never going to be 100% opaque, nor will be 100% transparent. So it's really going to be within these two extremes. And each paint will have its own opacity. Some paints are naturally more transparent, whereas other paints are naturally more opaque. But to apply a paint more opaquely, what you're going to do is you're just going to add less water. Okay, you're just going to put it on a little more thickly. You notice that's going to cover up what's beneath it more so. So do you see how the line's covered up a little bit? I mean, not 100%, but if you applied 2 coats of this, it would cover up what's beneath it. Now, if you want to apply a color more transparently, you're going to add more water. Okay, and you'll notice that what's beneath comes through more so. Okay, now it's not 100% transparent. Something that's 100% transparent would be glass. Okay, because it's still covering up a little bit of what's beneath it, but not all the way. Just in the same way as this is not 100% opaque. Some of the line is still coming through. Okay, so we're going to talk about the first layer and how to do it. And the first layer is very much about just capturing the major shifts in color. Okay, so you're going to be ignoring detail, you're going to be ignoring the nuances in color, and you're also going to be ignoring any rough textures. We're doing everything smooth at this point. And you're going to be applying the paint in a more transparent manner, which means you're going to be adding more water to the paint. I'm going to start by painting this hot dog bun. And it doesn't have to be exact. That's one thing I want to reiterate with this layer, is the colors don't have to be exact at this point. This first layer is just setting the stage for the coming layers. So you're just simplifying everything. I know there's a lot of different textures right here with the cracks, and then there's also some subtle nuances, but right now you're just trying to get the general sense of the color. You're just eyeballing it. And you're gonna want to work with bigger brushes too. So you generally want to work from bigger brushes to smaller brushes. Right now you want to be working with your bigger brushes, unless there's small little spaces you have to paint in. But you don't want to come through here with a little tiny brush and be painting it, okay? You want to be here with a bigger brush. Now the thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be really sloppy where you erase the lines, because if you get really sloppy, it's possible that you'll paint over the lines and you won't be able to see them later. Okay, so just respect the edges, and in places where it's smooth, you might want to smooth it out a little bit. And the reason is because sometimes if you got a really rough edge, it can be difficult to eliminate it later. If it's a really sharp edge and you're trying to make it smooth, it is difficult. So if you do have an edge that's smoother, you might want to soften it out with another brush. Come through with a filbert or even a flat, and just kind of soften out a soft edge so it doesn't become an issue later. And like I said, try not to mess up these edges, these lines you have. If you paint really sloppy, then you'll erase those. Okay, I'm gonna line it up a little bit near the edge, but I'm not gonna get too specific yet. Okay, everything's very general right now. And don't worry if it doesn't look photorealistic yet. Okay, this is a type of painting style that's going to take several layers to build up. In case it's going to take many layers to build up. Okay, and that's it. That's enough for the first layer of this hot dog bun. And now I'm going to go to the other side of the hot dog bun. I would suggest finishing all the colors once you mix it for this layer. For future layers, not so much, but for this layer, once you mix this brownish color, I would use it in other areas that you need it. So for example, once I'm done painting this bun on this other side, I could go and use this orangish brown for over here. Okay, maybe I'll need to add a little yellow for the fries, but I could go over here and do the fries with it. Because at this point, it doesn't need to be exact. You're just eyeballing the color, so it's okay if you use the color from one section for another section. And I know within this bun, there's a lot of different nuances in color, but right now, just if you can, squint your eyes and just look for the most general color shifts and simplify it. If you can, simplify a form into 2-3 colors. In some cases that might not be possible, but if you can, do it. Okay, so now that I've done the hot dog bun, I would suggest using this color and going to the fries. Or alternatively, I could use the color and then go to this paper that surrounds the hot dog, because it's similar to this color. But I'm gonna go for the fries. I think the fries have a little more yellow in them, so I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of cadmium yellow. And I would suggest to continue using chromatic black when you mix your colors and to darken them. The reason is going to help you gain more control over the value of your colors. And chromatic black is when you create black using color. And the recipe I gave you was burnt umber, phthalo blue, and just a tiny bit of cadmium red. And that'll give you chromatic black, which you can mix into your colors to darken them. And then the next layer, we're going to be painting more opaquely. And you're probably wondering, well, if we're painting more opaquely in the next layer, then why are we even doing this layer? Wouldn't it cover it up? And the truth is that the paint's never going to be completely opaque, and these colors will show through. And really this beginning layer will be helpful to us because it'll begin to establish the color relationships. And when you go to match your colors in the next layer, you'll have a better idea of what it actually looks like. And one thing I didn't talk about, but that is important, is I would suggest lighting up your grid. You don't have to completely erase it per se, but I think it is easier to line it up or erase it so that it doesn't get in the way. Especially for the method we're using, where we're not going one square at a time, it's not going to be as necessary. There are some photorealistic painters who will go one square at a time and just paint everything in that square, and then go to the next square, paint everything in that square, and go in this next square and paint everything in that square. But in our process, we're going to be working in a more hybrid fashion. Yeah, we'll pretend for a second that all these fries are painted. Then you could work in another color. For example, we could work on the reds. Okay, and then once I painted all of these stripes, then I could come over and I could use the red for the tomatoes that are on the hot dog. Okay, and since it doesn't have to be exact, you could use the same red, or you can make a little bit of alterations to it, depending on how close or far the red is. But like I said, the colors don't need to be exact at this point. You're really just eyeballing it. This is just setting the stage for the future layers. Setting a foundation. Like I said, have some respect for these edges. so that you don't lose them in future layers. If you just go all wild on the edges, then later on you're gonna have difficulty finding where the edges were. So I'm not gonna, paint out the whole thing. Unfortunately, I don't have the time for that. But I think you have a pretty good idea of what you're doing. You're focusing on the major shifts in color. You're working with more transparent paint application. Ignoring textures, ignoring details, ignoring nuances of color, just being very general at this point. And an important note: you're gonna want to apply this to the entire canvas before you go on to the next stage.